Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most beautiful and really foundational ideas in the entire Bible. We're going to explore what it truly means to be human, looking at this powerful concept of being created in the very image of God.
Who am I? What am I here for? At some point, we all ask these questions, don't we? They're just fundamentally human. And what's so amazing is that these ancient scriptures offer an answer that is so profound, so beautiful, and just filled with hope.
And right at the very beginning of the story, the Bible gives us a core answer. This verse from Genesis tells us our identity isn't an accident, it's a reflection. It says we were made on purpose in the image of our Creator. But let's look just a little bit closer, because the verse right before this one adds this wonderful layer of mystery. It says, "Let us make mankind in our image." Did you catch that? It's plural, us. That one little word has sparked so much thought and wonder for centuries. Who exactly is the us God is talking to?
Well, people have explored this for ages. One idea is that it's the royal we, like how a king might speak in a majestic way. Another thought is that God was speaking with the angels, the heavenly court. And a third interpretation, one that's really central to Christian faith, sees this as an early glimpse of the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, all in a divine conversation. We don't have to land on just one answer. The text kind of invites us to just marvel at the mystery of who God is.
So what do we mean by image anyway? This is so important. It isn't about physical looks. The Bible teaches that God is spirit. So this image, sometimes called by its Latin name, the imago Dei, is all about reflecting God's essence, his character, his very nature.
Okay, so that naturally leads to the next question, right? If we're made to reflect God's nature, what does that actually look like in us? What are these qualities that are meant to echo our Creator?
This is where it gets really beautiful. First, it means that every single person has deep, inherent value and dignity, period. It also means we share in God's creativity. Think about it. Whether you're making music, or a meal, or a business plan, you're creating. Our ability to use language and communicate deeply reflects a God who communicates with us. We were made with an eternal part of us, a soul that knows there's more than just this life. And maybe the most important of all, since the Bible tells us God is love, we were made with love at the absolute core of our being.
But as we all know from our own lives, and from the story the Bible tells, things aren't perfect. The story explains that through what it calls sin, which is really humanity's choice to turn away from God. That beautiful reflection got fractured. The connection was damaged, and the image of God in us was, it was marred.
But that is not where the story ends, not at all. In fact, the whole message of the Christian faith is one of incredible hope. It's about a way being made, not just for forgiveness, but for the full-on restoration of that broken image.
So how does this hope arrive? The New Testament introduces us to a person, Jesus Christ. He's described as the perfect, unbroken image of God. He actually came to show us, in flesh and blood, what God's nature is really like, and what we were always created to be. You could say he's the blueprint for our restoration.
And right there is the invitation. Through a relationship with Jesus, a process of renewal starts. It's about becoming a new self, being slowly but surely changed, healed, and restored back into that original, beautiful image of God that we were always meant to reflect. So you see, this isn't just some abstract idea or an ancient story. Understanding this gives our lives such profound meaning and purpose right here, right now. It leads us to this beautiful question: how do we actually live this out?
It all becomes very practical in our daily lives. We live as the image of God when we truly embrace our value, knowing deep down that we're priceless to Him. We reflect Him when we unleash our creativity in 1,000 different ways. We do it when we use our words to build people up, to connect with truth and with love. And more than anything, we live out this image when we choose a life of love, reflecting God's own heart to the people around us.
So the question this leaves us with is a really gentle and personal one. Knowing that you were created in the image of God, made to reflect His value, His creativity, and His incredible love, how will you reflect that beautiful image to the world today?